Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. I've got a very special guest for you guys today, one of my longtime friends who is the personal brand consultant to the stars at Firestarter. Francis, how are you today?
I'm good, man. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too. And I, I know I won't do a proper introduction justice. Let's just say, Francis, I've known each other for God, almost
It's
15-ish
20,
years,
20
20. Oh
years,
God, we're not that
almost
old.
20.
We're not
Yeah.
that old. Uh, so do me a favor, start off just by letting everybody know what's Firestarter. What have you been doing over the last few years?
Yeah, so I am the founder and CEO of Firestarter. We are a Virginia-based brand consultant firm, and I work exclusively with high school, college, and professional athletes and coaches. And so for my clients, I do everything from marketing to PR to endorsements to for-profit and nonprofit launches and events.
And you do a darn good job. I know you've been doing a lot with player foundations, and I think Aaron Donald, John
Mhm.
Feliciano, all those guys, good some NFL clients and all that kind of thing. But what the reason I wanted to talk to you today is in the college recruiting world, social media is everywhere, right? I mean, and I've get a lot of questions from parents, from players, you know, what kind of things should they be doing? Should they not be doing? How does social media really fit into the college recruitment process, and kind of what have you seen from your experiences?
It plays a big role in the recruitment process. It certainly is something that is a must do. 5, 6 years ago, a kid could go through the athletic recruiting process without social media and make their way down the recruitment funnel. But today, coaches, especially in like football and basketball, this is a key area where kids get seen, can grow. And depending on which state you live in, high school kids can even monetize their brand. And as they go into college, everyone can monetize their brand. So social media has become just basically a cornerstone of our lives. We are going forward. We're not going back from this. And so it's really important that parents right from that junior high level on up, if their child is active in sports. Oh no, I froze.
Uh, there we
Oh
go.
no.
We're back. We're back.
It's really important that that parents get their child active and out there, especially if they're gaining attention. You want to capture that light in a bottle and keep it going all the way through their high school and then on to hopefully their collegiate playing career. But there are ways that it can go wrong and wrong quickly. And so it's really important that if a parent or an athlete is going to put themselves out there to be visible for the recruiting process, there's always a couple like tried and true things that I tell parents that they should do. First things first, audit. And what I mean by that is if your child already has social media platforms but now we're really going to go from your child just using social media for fun or interaction or to converse with friends. Now we're switching this over because we want this to be a vehicle for recruitment, a vehicle for monetization. I always tell parents, first things first, we audit. And what I mean by that is go back to through their accounts all the way to the very beginning and start getting rid of images, videos, anything on their account that really just doesn't make them look the best, doesn't put them in the most flattering light. Maybe they have a picture from when they were 9 with a group of their friends. Let's get that stuff out of there and really start curating a social media feed that is benefiting the child now and long through the recruiting process. Because people do go through those feeds, especially Twitter, and go back and see what kind of character this child is. What will they bring to the team's culture? Who are they? Are they a good person? Are they a team player? Are they a complainer? So much of character and values can be read through somebody's posts and how they put themselves out there in words and in images. So first things first, go back and audit. I tell parents and athletes, all the way up to my professional athletes, is go back every year and audit yourself. Clean that stuff out. Sometimes we say and do things in the moment that we thought were funny, that we thought were relevant, now don't maybe look so good. So go back there and clean it up. Second thing, really important for the recruitment process, is what is in the bio. Very, very important. And so many kids, it blows my mind how many kids and how many parents watching their children's accounts just completely miss this step. You're seeing it more and more, but student athletes want to make sure they're using every character of their bio. Their name should be in there, their school, their sport, their position. As they get older in high school, their GPA, their SATs, ACT scores, and how to be contacted via email. Don't assume a coach is going to DM you. So have an email account in your bio to be reached. Also, a phone number. Sometimes coaches will text, or even, if you can believe it in this day and age, actually call. So have a phone number. Now, I know for parents, having an email and a phone number out there for everybody on the World Wide Web to see, and it makes some parents, especially for younger student athletes, a little uncomfortable. What you can do is, create a dummy phone number that goes through, Google, or a burner phone, something that somebody can't directly attach to your child. Of course, mom or dad can put their phone number, but they may not want their phone number out there either. So there are workarounds, but absolutely have a way to be contacted, and absolutely have an email account. And because I'm a brander and this is what I do, create a handle and an email account that has your name and that matches. That way it's easier for coaches to remember. You have to keep in mind, they're looking at hundreds and hundreds of kids every single year. So any way to help make them connect the dots of your name, your phone number, your email, any way you can tie that together, it's really important to do so. And it's really helpful to the coaches when they're trying to reach students.
So
And then,
sorry,
oh,
sorry,
yes.
but on that point though, you talk about auditing your account if you already have one. If you already have one, should you create a new one that's just about recruiting, that so you can match up emails and maybe have it be separate focused, or what do you think about that?
No, I mean, especially if a child has an account and has followers and has a decent amount of followers, I would leave it. I mean, especially something like Twitter and Instagram too. You can always change your handle if you want to. So if their handle was I Heart Soccer 62 and now they want to change it to, Connor Novick 62, if it's available on Twitter and Instagram, they can certainly make those changes. Handles can be changed if they're available. You might have to get a little creative if you want everything to match, but if you already have an account, just keep trucking with that account. No need to start all over, because for one reason, which I spoke of, which is about followers, but two, it causes confusion. If a coach is seeing two different profiles with the same person, they're like, okay, that's his information, but that's also his information. Which one am I following? Which one am I engaging with? So just leave one, and change the handles if you want to. And of course, you can always go on Gmail and create a Gmail account with whatever handle, whatever is available, but you can find clever ways to make them all match up. But another thing is bio pictures. So your shot and your banner on the page. Want to be creative with that. In the picture, obviously, make sure that the coach can see your face. This is more of an issue in sports like football or lacrosse, where they're wearing helmets and it's a little hard to see their face. Players will often post a picture of them playing, which is great. That seems like a natural thing to do, right? But you want people to be able to see your face and know that they're looking at the right person. And so have a picture. You can still be in uniform, but just something where we can actually see you. And then, of course, that banner, you can change it into whatever you want. So why not use that space to show a little personality, a little flair? Maybe there's something that the student athlete loves to do outside of sports. Maybe they have a saying that they really love. Anything to help kind of diversify their account, but differentiate themselves from all the other kids out there that are being recruited. So they seem like little tiny things, but they do really add up when people are looking at profile after profile. You want to be able to make yours stand out from the pack, look a little bit different, read a little bit different. And so I always recommend, especially during the recruitment process, that kids do that and their parents help them with that. And then, of course, when we get into content itself, right? What's the content that's going to break through? Well, video, video, video. And I know some people hate making videos because they don't know what to say. They don't know if they're, acting right. They're not a TikTok dancer. And so they're not really sure what to do, but video is king. And for a student athlete who is going through the recruitment process, coaches and scouts and trainers seeing video of the child in action, the child working out, training, all of this is very important. Also, video becomes very important too for coaches to see personality, because they're not just recruiting for your physical capabilities, which is very important. They're also looking at your personality too. Are you a good fit for the program? Are you coachable? Are you humble? Are you polite? They're looking at that stuff too. And video is a great way for a student athlete to let their personality shine through and kind of show who they are day in and day out. Now, I'm not saying that images, just plain images or graphics, don't work as content. They absolutely still do, but the world is migrating towards video. That's why TikTok is so huge. That's why YouTube continues to grow year over year. That's why Reels on Instagram just continues to grow in popularity. We're literally too lazy to just look at an image. We have to be entertained with a video. This probably isn't that heavy of a lift for our young student athletes who are very digitally native. Mom and dad might get a little nervous around it, but the younger kids, I think they're comfortable with it and they know what to do. But not just show what you are like out on the pitch or on the field. The playing is important. Obviously, showing highlight reels is important. Obviously, if you score the game-winning goal, absolutely get that up there, but make sure you're showing content that shows the whole person, what you do outside of your sport. Maybe you're really good at school. Maybe you have a really interesting hobby outside of playing sports. Don't be afraid to show that whole picture. And the reason to train yourself now to do that will come in handy later on if you want to monetize, or if you go on to play at the collegiate level and you are thinking about sponsorships or endorsements. Showing that whole personality of yourself really does help companies decide if they want you to endorse their product, if they want to do marketing campaigns with you. So be sure to show the whole picture and the whole your roundedness of who you are as a person, because it really does help in a lot of different ways. But during the recruitment process, they want to see what kind of person you are off the field and on. I tell parents not to get too worried about your child being on every platform. I really would advise people to stick to the platform that the student is actually going to use. It's better for a athlete, really honestly, anybody. It's really better to be on one or two platforms, but you're maximizing those platforms. You're putting up the content every day. You're engaging with people all the time. I would rather have a client doing that than a client that just is buckshot, meaning they're on every platform, but they never post anything. There's nothing, they have a YouTube page, but there's nothing there. Or they have Instagram, but there's only one picture of them. We all know those accounts and we've seen them. I say, if your child likes Instagram, be on Instagram. Coaches are definitely looking through Instagram for students. For the recruiting process, however, Twitter is where it's at. That's where the coaches are. That's where the reporters are. That's where a lot of the sports world is. And so if you're like, okay, I'm only allowing my son or daughter one platform, and which one should we go to? Twitter. That's where the coaches are. That's where coaches are looking at kids, both the kids that they have and the kids that they want to have. That's where they're looking at their competitors and what they're putting out there. And it's really, Twitter's really easy. If an article gets written on your child, then you just like and share it, and that's easy content for your child to help get them more views. And so Twitter is kind of the most active place right now for the recruitment, but coaches are definitely on Instagram too, and more of them are going to that platform. Some do look through TikTok. Some are active in recruiting on TikTok, but not as much. And of course, Facebook for young people, that's non-existent. And then of course, a young athlete doesn't need LinkedIn, but for the parents out there watching this who might have a child who is a senior in high school, or maybe they've just started college, I would definitely recommend getting them into the LinkedIn space. And that's a whole other conversation for another time. But Twitter is really where the majority of that recruitment activity is happening. And Twitter moves very quickly. So it's a platform that requires a lot of content. You can't post once and then walk away for 2 weeks and expect that people are going to see you, unless everything you post gets 200,000 likes, which is highly unlikely. You have to keep feeding the beast, as I call it, on Twitter, because the content life cycle on Twitter is only about 16 minutes, which means when you post a piece of content, it lives in people's feed for about 16 minutes and then it's gone. So you have to constantly feed that platform. But that's where the recruitment activity is happening. And then the other piece of advice I would give to parents and student athletes, if they're building, whether it's for recruitment or they're trying to monetize, consistency is key. Consistency is so important. I don't care if you're trying to lose weight or grow your finances or building a brand. It's all about discipline and consistency. You have to stay on top of posting. Like I said just a second ago, you can't post something once, walk away for 2 weeks and think that you're going to be seen or that you're going to grow an audience. It just doesn't work that way. Social media and the algorithms that control social media are based off of two things that you can control. There's a lot of other things going on in the algorithm that we can't control, but the two you can is your consistency, meaning that you are posting on a regular basis. Your audience is being trained that you're going to be posting on a regular basis. And then the second half of it is your level of engagement. So if you go on a platform like Twitter, for example, you should be liking, sharing, commenting, because that helps bring you up to the top of the feed. People are more likely to see you the more active you are on that platform. For people who are heavy Twitter users, they probably notice that every time they log onto their account, there's that one person or a couple of people that are always at the top of their feed. and it's simply because that person is posting and liking, sharing, commenting, and that's how they stay towards the top. For a young student athlete who is going through the recruiting process, posting, obviously they're getting that stuff up there on a regular basis, a couple of days a week, not just after the Friday night game and then they're quiet the rest of the week. We need stuff throughout the week. But this active student athlete is also posting their content, but they're liking other friends' content. They're liking and sharing articles maybe from a particular writer or a particular publication that is positive towards their team or their community. They're liking celebrity posts and other activity that's going on that platform. That really helps. But the one thing I caution with parents monitoring this, we can see, especially on a platform like Twitter, we can see what your child is liking. So make sure that this young man or young woman understands that you can like stuff, you can share stuff. That's great. That's good. But we can see what you're liking. So if you're liking something inappropriate, if you're liking something that you really shouldn't affiliate yourself with, or something that is in bad taste, we can see it. And recruiters see it. All they have to do is tap on the little tab on somebody's Twitter account and they can see what they liked and shared. And that's really important. I actually know of a kid who lost a football scholarship to a D2 program because the coach that was recruiting him went onto his Twitter and was looking at not the stuff he posted, but the stuff that he was liking. And it was very inappropriate stuff, just very crude, crass stuff. And the coach was like, this is not our culture here. This is not what we're looking for. And his offer was taken. So this stuff is really important. It's really important for moms and dads to be watching that, especially the student athlete, mom and dad watching that and making sure that not only are they making good decisions about what they're posting, but making good decisions about who they're engaging with and their social media etiquette.
Now, and I've heard this question sometimes, asked about parent involvement. And the coaches I've talked to and interview on the podcast have all kind of told me the same thing is the kids should run their account, not the moms and dads. And it's pretty obvious when it's
Mhm.
mom and dad. But that
Right.
doesn't mean that mom and dad is off the hook, right?
Absolutely not. And in fact, mom and dad can absolutely help. Especially if the student athlete is younger, mom and dad may be helping, with grammar or whatever the case may be. I'm totally on board with that. Mom and dad just keeping a watch to make sure nothing inappropriate is going on, like I just mentioned. But it really needs to be the student athlete. It really has to be as authentic as possible. And when mom or dad or a publicist like me is the one operating the account, it's very obvious. It's like I can change my voice to match that of the clients, but even a trained person like me that does this, people can still tell the difference between something that was written by me and something that's written by a 14-year-old boy. There's a huge difference. So the kids managing their own accounts is really, really important. But to the parents, I'm going to take it one step further. Mom and dad, you need to behave yourself on social media too. Coaches do look at your accounts too. Not as many, not as frequently, but if there is a mom or dad out there really acting just out of sorts on social media, that could negatively impact your child. Coaches, they don't want to deal with something that's going to be a problem, potentially a problem down the road. So mom and dad, you need to keep yourself under control, and you can't get aggressive with coaches or players or anyone like that. I've actually seen a parent go after a coach on Twitter because their child was not recruited to play at that particular school. And I mean, just horrific behavior. But mom and dad, you have to watch it too. And mom and dad, what you're saying, what you're posting, what you're liking could potentially come under scrutiny as well. I mean, keep in mind, depending on the school, there's only so many scholarships to go around. Like, and if a coach is trying to decide between two kids, don't give them a reason to walk away from your kid because of silly online behavior. So make sure everybody is keeping it clean, keeping it respectful, keeping it positive. But the same goes for parents too. Coaches are looking, watching, and paying attention.
Well, and it's not just on social media, because I can tell you I've had multiple coaches tell me that they purposefully show up to a game where they're scouting a player
Mhm.
before the game starts, and they'll park near the parents to see who are the yellers and the screamers and the ones, you know, berating the referees or yelling about the way they're talking to their kids or other kids, and
Yep.
they'll scratch them right off the list. And so
Yeah.
it's in person, it's online, and that's great overall advice.
Yeah.
Um, y- you've been super generous with your time, Francis, giving us a lot of good information. I'm going to leave you with one last question, um, and it's similar to the one I ask our coaches when I interview them. Okay, what didn't we cover? What else is there? What's the kind of one last piece of advice or something that we didn't talk about that you would be remiss to not say to potential student athletes out there?
Yeah, the big one that I see, especially with student athletes, media is becoming more and more of a thing in small towns, in big towns. Podcasters and bloggers and small media firms are popping up left and right, and they're covering student athletes as young as junior high. Even I watched a video on Instagram today of a third grade basketball game. So video and media is everywhere. And for some young adults, that's scary. Being interviewed is incredibly overwhelming for some people, some adults, quite frankly. But having speaker training and media skills is vital, because you want, to be honest, as an athlete, you want that microphone shoved in your face because it usually means that you did great, you had a good game, the media is interested in you as a person. You want that because that's easy content. But you want to make sure when that microphone comes up to your face that you're ready to have the conversation. And so, for parents, if your son or daughter or student athlete, if you're on the shy side, if public speaking is not something that you've done a lot of, take a class, do it online. I mean, there's tons of YouTube videos out there to help you become a better public speaker. I do media training with kids all the time, but there's stuff at local community colleges. And if your child is at the high school level, there probably is a speech or a presentation course right there at their school that they can participate in, or they can join the speech team, is another way. But having those media skills, having those speaking skills will never not be something that a student athlete doesn't need. They will need these skills for the rest of their life, but this need is getting younger and younger. So I strongly encourage parents and student athletes to get speaker training and engage with the media in a positive way. Because believe me, if they know you and you've been good to them, they're going to be good to you, and you're going to get a lot more coverage when you engage with the media in a positive way, offline and on. It definitely can help. It helps athletes all the way down from little kid all the way up to pro.
Awesome. Well, Francis, I really do appreciate your time and these amazing insights for the Discover College soccer community. I know we get questions all the time about it, and I said, okay, who can I talk to? And the list was one. So I appreciate you. I
Yay!
I appreciate you making yourself available, and hopefully we'll be in touch again soon. And hopefully you and I will see each other in person soon, because it's been way too long.
It's been way too long. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.